Good evening, everybody. This is your man, Rodney Knight, aka RJ Knight, the sports god. Just want to give you guys another video today. A lot of good, interesting sports actions happening this weekend. So, a lot of things that transpired. First, you had the NFL Draft Combine happening the past 3 days, and we just witnessed Xavier Worthy, Texas wide receiver, just now ran the fastest 40 time in the 40-yard dash at the draft combine with a official time of 4.21, and he eclipsed John Ross, who broke the record of 4.22 in 2017. So first, I just want to give my congratulations on Xavier Worthy for breaking the record for the fastest 40 time. Send my congratulations to him, and hopefully he can have a long and healthy career going into the NFL draft this upcoming season. Secondly, you had Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa. She now has the all-time points of any D1 college basketball player of all time. So she had just broken the record set by all NBA Hall of Famer Pistol Pete Maravich, who went to the University of Louisiana, LSU, for people that don't know college sports. So she just broke the record for Pistol Pete Maravich, and you could pretty much say that she is arguably the greatest female college basketball player of all time, even eclipsing Cheryl Miller, who is the sister of Reggie Miller, who attended the University of Southern California, or USC for most people. So very interesting, moments that happen, in this upcoming weekend. And the subject of this video is we just had another stat that was topped by one of the all-time greats in NBA, not just NBA history, but basketball history to be exact, LeBron James. So LeBron James just became the first player in NBA history to score 40,000 points in an entire career. Let me say that again. 40,000 points in the NBA. That stat itself is absolutely insane. He just did it last night against the Denver Nuggets. Unfortunately, the Lakers lost that game by a score of 124 to 114. Jokic, the Joker, he sort of brought the environment down, beating the Lakers, beating them by 10 points. And Jokic had a really good game himself. He had a box score of 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, almost a triple-double. And that's pretty much the usual stats for Nikola Jokic. And also his duo partner, Jamal Murray, he didn't have a bad game himself. He had a really good game as well. He had a box score of 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists, also having a double-double game himself. But we're not talking about those two. We're talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the guy himself, LeBron James. He does not need no introduction. Pretty much everybody in the world knows who LeBron James is. And even though he lost the game, he still had a really good game himself. He had a box score of 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists himself, almost having a double-double. But the topic at hand is that, first off, congratulations for LeBron James becoming the first player to score 40,000 points in an entire NBA career. And that is very unprecedented, and we don't know for sure if anyone is ever going to even come close to scoring 40,000 or more points in an entire NBA career. So the subject at hand that we have is, now that LeBron is fully trenched as the all-time NBA scorer, does this further prove his point that he is the greatest player in NBA history? But not just NBA history, but basketball history in general. So obviously, what we're going to talk about here is try to make a debate on whether LeBron James is really the greatest player of all time. because everyone talks about this subject, but I'm going to give my take, my opinion on the subject, my first take into the GOAT debate when it comes to LeBron James. So obviously, in order to make this debate, we got to make this argument with the other player that people consider the GOAT when it comes to NBA basketball, and really does not also needs no introduction himself, but it is Mr. Air Jordan himself, Michael Jordan. So the topic at hand is we're going to discuss the comparisons with LeBron James and Michael Jordan, and then you guys are going to give me your opinion on whether you think Michael Jordan or LeBron James is the greatest player in basketball history. So first, we're going to talk about LeBron James. So LeBron James, he came into the NBA as a bona fide high school prospect coming out of St. Vincent Mary in Ohio. He was the first overall pick in 2003. A really good draft class, considered as one of the greatest NBA draft classes of all time, having other Hall of Famer caliber players, Hall of Fame talents like Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. And he was the number one pick in that draft. Now, when he came into the league, I don't think anyone had as much hype as LeBron James did coming straight out of high school. Literally, when he came in the NBA as a high schooler, even as a senior, people were saying that LeBron James was better than some NBA players that were even in the league. Like this man, go back to 2002, 2003. I don't think that anybody coming into the league had as much hype and everything that LeBron James had all time. This man literally had on a Sports Illustrated cover when he was in high school, and what was the heading? The Chosen One. That right there pretty much tells you that this man, LeBron James, people are already saying that he's going to be an all-time great player. They nickname him the Chosen One, and he hasn't even stepped foot on an NBA court yet. And for that much pressure to be placed on him, that is so much, thought process that I don't think any other player, not just current players, but any Hall of Fame players back in the day could be able to handle that pressure. He was nicknamed the Chosen One. People were calling him King James. People were even saying that he was better than some of the players that were on the Cleveland Cavaliers team before he was even drafted. And some of the players that were on that team in 2002, 2003 were Carlos Boozer, Ricky Davis, Darius Miles, and some other players on that team. Just a little list of some of the players that were memorable on that team. So LeBron James was drafted number one overall in 2003, just like I said, coming straight out of high school. And to say that he lived up to the Chosen One nickname, that is a huge understatement itself. Now, let me just run down all the career stats when it comes to LeBron James. So he played in the NBA for 22 seasons from 2023 to now. Now, let's look at his career averages. He has career averages of 27.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. He also has 4 NBA championships, go along with 4 NBA Finals MVPs. Then he is also a 20-time All-Star, meaning he made the All-Star 20 years. And this season, he became the player to have the most All-Star game appearances this year, topping NBA great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he also has 13 All-NBA first team selections, not just second team, not third team, first team, meaning 13 times in his career, the NBA has voted him as a top 5 player in the league. And I believe that is the most by any player in NBA history. So obviously LeBron James has lived up to the hype that he had going into his career. But also, there's also some coup de grace, some red flags going into LeBron James's career. Now, as far as him being a all-time great player, that is definitely true. But the main problem surrounding LeBron James is a lot of times he's not a great jump shooter. He's a great facilitator. He's a great player when it comes to in the paint and shooting the mid-range. But when it comes to jump shots, he's not that much consistent. And if you look at his free throw percentages, there was never a season in LeBron James's career where he had a free throw percentage of 80 or above. So basically, that means that when LeBron James goes to the free throw line, he pretty much has a 50-50 chance of making the free throws. So pretty much that gave the opponents, some release that, okay, LeBron James may not make the free throw because he has never averaged over 80% when it comes to the free throws. Even though he's not a quote unquote good free throw shooter, he can still make it up with his great passing and his great, rebounding and his defense. He can make it up by not having a good jump shot, but just having a great motor. He's going to give it his all time after time after time. That's just how LeBron James was. And that's how he was when he came into the league in 2003. That's the reason why he was the first overall pick in the 2003 draft coming straight out of high school. So to say that LeBron James is not at least a top 5 player in NBA history, that really is going to rub some people the wrong way. Because the totality of LeBron, there is no reason to argue that LeBron James is not a top 5 player in the league. And right now, he is obviously at least a top 3 player. So in my opinion, the top 3 players of NBA history in order are Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I'm going to further explain in just a minute why I think Michael Jordan is the best player in NBA history. So now that we talked about LeBron James and went over, how he was in his career, now let's go to who people consider the undisputed GOAT in NBA history. So we have Michael Jordan, who was drafted number 3 overall by the Chicago Bulls in 1984, who people consider the greatest all-time draft of all time. And some of the all-time players that were in that draft were Hakeem Olajuwon, who went number 1, Michael Jordan, and also the round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley, coming out of Auburn. So looking at Michael Jordan, he was drafted number 3, like I mentioned, coming out of the University of North Carolina. So coming into the league in 1984. At that time, the league was still built around you needed a big man to win a championship. The reason why is because if you go back to the league in the 60s, the 70s, and some of the early 80s, a team to win a championship had to have a great big man. So if you look at the 60s, who was arguably the best player of that entire decade? Bill Russell, and he was a big man. Then you look at the 70s, you had guys like Willis Reed, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain, and also you had Bill Walton as well. What do all of those guys have in common? All of those guys won a championship in the 1970s. So at that time, in 1984, MJ was going into a league where the shooting guard was not the best player on the team. And then you needed a big man in order to win. So he had multiple people saying that MJ may not be that great because he wasn't, 6'10, 6'11, that he wasn't a big man. He wasn't a center. Many people were saying you can't build a team around a guy who's only 6'6". So going into the league, he did have some pressure on him as well. because not that many guys at his position of shooting guard was able to be the best player not only on his team, but in the entire league. So with Michael Jordan, he was able to prove all of those guys wrong, all of the doubters wrong, and he has had a magnificent, legendary career himself. So to go over some of the stats by Michael Jordan, he has career averages of 30.1 points, which is, might I add, the NBA record for NBA career points average. So he has the record of 30.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. Also, to add on Michael Jordan's resume, he has 6 titles, 6 NBA Finals MVPs. And not to mention, 6 of those titles were split. So he has 3 straight from 91 to 93, and then another 3 straight from 1996 to 1998. And then also, he made the All-Star team 14 times and made the All-NBA first team 10 times. Now, obviously, the advantage is going to go to LeBron as terms of how many times they were selected to the All-Star, how many times they were selected All-NBA, and also the amount of years that they played in the entire league. So Michael Jordan, he only played in the league 15 years, and LeBron James, including this current season, has played 22 seasons. So obviously, the advantage is going to go to LeBron James. But here's why I think, one reason why I think Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. So first, it's quality over quantity. LeBron James has the quantity, but Michael Jordan has the quality. He was able to put up those magnificent stats in a shorter amount of time. So let's look at this. MJ played 15 years, but he only played 13 full seasons, meaning he played 60 or more games 13 times. So in those 2 years, in his second year in the league, he had missed majority of the season due to an ankle injury. And then after he retired in 1993, after winning his first third straight NBA title after beating Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns, he decided to retire and missed a year and 6 months of NBA action. So we cannot count the 1994-1995 season because pretty much Michael Jordan came sort of towards the end of that season, and he wasn't at his best that year. So we can't count that season. But for Michael Jordan to achieve everything that he did in a shorter amount of time and still is in top 5 of all-time points scored in NBA history, that is absolutely phenomenal. And also another reason why I think Michael Jordan is a better player than LeBron James is he was available more in his career, even though it was a shorter amount of time. So let's look at the comparison when it comes to availability with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. So Michael Jordan, like I said, he had played 13 full seasons. And in an NBA season, it is 82 regular season games. Michael Jordan played all 82 games 9 times in his career. So that means he's always there, even through the grit and grind of the games, practices, everything that you can mention. He has been playing all 82 games in his career 9 times. Now, LeBron James, who we talk about, we give him credit for being able to play this long, spending over $1 million every year, taking care of his body, making sure he gets the right food and everything. But here's the thing. LeBron James, who has had a magnificent long career, he's only played all 82 games in his entire 22-year career one time, which was the 2018 season where he led his Cleveland Cavaliers to the NBA Finals after beating the Boston Celtics in the conference finals. So that's a sort of red flag when it comes to LeBron James's career, is that he only played all 82 games in his entire career one time, compared to Michael Jordan, who has played 9 times all 82 games. So that also, in my opinion, is another big example as to why Michael Jordan is the GOAT, is even through the wear and tear he suffered through his career, he was always available. And we talk about LeBron James being the Iron Man in the NBA. How come LeBron James in only one time in his career only played all 82 games and started all 82 games, of course. But how come someone like LeBron James only played all 82 games one time? And he's supposed to be this Iron Man type of player. That doesn't really make much sense to me. So that's another opinion why I think Michael Jordan is the greatest player in NBA history. Also, another reason why I think Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time is you got to look at, the people that were surrounding him, the teammates that he had on his championship teams. So let's compare Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and let's look at the Hall of Fame teammates that he had. So let's look at Michael Jordan. So if you look at the 6 championships that Michael Jordan has in his career, he has only had 2 Hall of Famers that he had as teammates. Obviously, you had Scottie Pippen, and then you had, in my opinion, the greatest rebounder of all time, the Worm, Dennis Rodman. So if you look at, Michael Jordan's career, he really didn't have any Hall of Fame talent on his team. I'm not saying that Michael Jordan's teams weren't good. It's just he didn't have that much Hall of Fame teammates. He had great teams. He just didn't have Hall of Fame teammates. So in his 6 championships, he only had 2 teammates that were Hall of Fame players. So now let's look at LeBron James. Let's look at the 4 championships that he has. And if you look at the 4 championships and the teammates that he has, you could pretty much say, range-wise, he has about 4, maybe 7 teammates that you can say are either already in the Hall of Fame or are going to be in the Hall of Fame. So let's run down the Hall of Fame players that LeBron James has had as teammates in his 4 championships. So when he was in Miami, he had teammates like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Ray Allen. And those 3 are already in the NBA Hall of Fame. Then you go to the championship that he won in 2016 in Cleveland. You have Kyrie Irving, and then also Kevin Love, who could make the Hall of Fame as well. So there's 5 players right there who have either been Hall of Fame players or are going to make the Hall of Fame. And then his final championship and his most recent championship in 2020 during the bubble, you had Anthony Davis, and then you also had, coming off the bench, Dwight Howard. So in LeBron James's 4 championship runs, he has had 7 players who are either in the Hall of Fame already or are going to be in the Hall of Fame. So pretty much you can say right there that LeBron James had more help to win compared to Michael Jordan. Because if you look at Michael Jordan, he never truly had a super team when he was in the league. He really didn't have a super team until Dennis Rodman came into the Bulls team in the 1995-1996 season. If you look back from 1991 to 1993, he didn't really have a super team. He just had players that fit around him. But if you look at LeBron James, look at his career. he didn't win his first championship until he formed a super team with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. So obviously that's going to bring his championship wins down a little bit just because he had to have a lot of help in order to win his first championship, unlike Michael Jordan, who didn't need a super team to win. So we're in an era that super teams are pretty much common ground in the league. You got guys like, the Phoenix Suns having Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and then Devin Booker. Then you got the Dallas Mavericks with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Then you got possibly, in my opinion, maybe the best super team in the league right now when fully healthy. You got the Los Angeles Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. So we're in an era right now where super teams are pretty much, they are all around the league. Almost some of the best teams in the league right now already have super teams. But when LeBron was coming up, in the late to mid 2000s, there weren't really that many known super teams. Like the first biggest super team that, made LeBron do what he had to do to go to the Miami Heat was in 2008. The first, known super team when everybody was quote unquote in their prime was when the Boston Celtics made the trades to get Ray Allen from the Seattle Supersonics and Kevin Garnett from the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they formed a super team with Paul Pierce, who had already been with the Boston Celtics. And in their first year together, they had the biggest turnaround in NBA history, from going 28-54 the previous season to 66-16 and winning the championship in 2008, beating the Los Angeles Lakers, led by Kobe Bryant. So LeBron James, you can say he has had much more help than Michael Jordan because he had to have super teams in order to win. Now, I will say LeBron James, I will commend him for making the NBA Finals so many times. But the problem is you've lost in the finals many times. He's lost in 2007, 2011, 2014, 2015, 2017, and 2018. So he has lost in the finals 6 times and has 4 wins in the NBA Finals. So that's 40%. He's 4 for 10 in the NBA Finals. That's not good. That is not good. 40% after making the finals 10 times? That's not good. And then you got Michael Jordan, who has made the NBA Finals 6 times, and he has won 6 titles. Michael Jordan does not know how it feels to lose an NBA championship. And another reason, and probably the biggest reason why I think Michael Jordan is the greatest player in NBA history, is that Michael Jordan, in the 6 times that he made the NBA Finals, has never played in a Game 7. LeBron James, in his 10 times in the NBA Finals, he has made Game 7 at least 2 times in his career. Michael Jordan, he doesn't know how it feels to even make it to a Game 7 in the finals. And if you look at the history of Michael Jordan in the playoffs in general, there's not that many times he had to go to a Game 7 in order to advance to in the playoffs or make it to the NBA Finals. Yes, he has had Game 7s, but he doesn't have as many as LeBron does. So I think that's the biggest reason as to why Michael Jordan is the best player in NBA history. That when the time is there, when you need somebody to win the game for you, Michael Jordan can get it done. That's not saying LeBron James cannot get it done. It's just Michael Jordan can get it done quicker. Because if you look at the 6 times that Michael Jordan has made the NBA Finals, one time he has won the series in 5 games, and then every other time he has won the series in 6 games. So Michael Jordan, he knows what it do to get it done. He knows how to finish the job quickly and not let the other team, his opponents, feel like, they got a chance to beat MJ. But there have been so many times in LeBron James's career, he had to dig deep to, win a series in the playoffs. So I think that's probably arguably the biggest reason as to why Michael Jordan is the NBA GOAT, is because he knows how to get it done, and you got to take quality over quantity. Michael Jordan has done more with less. Because, like I said, he has only played 82 games in his career 9 times, and he's only played in the league 13 full years, compared to LeBron, who has played in the league 22 seasons. So, yes, Michael Jordan, he has less seasons played than LeBron James. But if you're playing in the league over 15, 16, 17 years, and you're someone who's a top 5 player in the entire league, you are expected to break all the records. You are expected to score a lot of points, have a lot of assists. Now, I will commend LeBron James for scoring 40,000 points. I truthfully think that no one is even going to come close to getting 40,000 points in the NBA. I give my congratulations for LeBron James. He did something that I don't think anyone has ever going to do. And he has had a magnificent career that I myself am glad that I was able to witness. But strongly, I think that Michael Jordan is still the NBA GOAT, even though all the accomplishments LeBron James has. I think if you look at the play on the court, what he can do offensively and defensively, and if you look at the legacy, I think Michael Jordan, in my opinion, is the clear-cut NBA GOAT. Now, obviously, you have other players who can make arguments for being the best player in NBA history, like who I mentioned earlier, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Then you also got my favorite player of all time, Kobe Bryant. You got Magic Johnson. You got Shaq. You got Wilt. You got Bill Russell. You got Hakeem Olajuwon. You got all these other NBA greats who you can make argument is the best player in basketball history. But when you talk about NBA basketball, there's only 2 names that is leap years ahead of everybody else, and who everybody should have as the top 2 players in NBA history: Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And like I said, LeBron James, I commend him for the success that he's had on and off the court. But if we're talking about just on the court, I think Michael Jordan is the best player of all time, and I don't think anybody is going to come close to topping Michael Jordan as the best player in NBA history. So I want to hear what you guys think. Who do you think is the best player in NBA history, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? I want to hear you guys' thoughts on why do you think that LeBron James or Michael Jordan is the best player in NBA history. But like I said, congratulations for LeBron James, and I wish him the best for the rest of the season. And we're going to see, how the Lakers fare going into the end of the season. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning in to my video. Keep tuning in every week. I'm going to post a video every week talking about anything NBA, NFL, pro wrestling related. Follow me on my Instagram at RJK_forever2, and keep it locked. Like, comment, and subscribe. This is Rodney Knight, aka the Sports God. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.